what's up, what's up, what's up? It's me, your homegirl, LaDosha Wright, the author of Curly Hair Adventures, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, and the Beauty and Barber Survival Plan that can be downloaded for free on my Patreon page at Global Hair Care. And to those of you who are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. To those of you who are just already down with your homegirl, Kilolo, welcome back. I am the cosmetologist who tells you everything that they don't tell you at the hair salon, or while you're riding on the bus, at the party, you know, on the phone and the Zoom and the chat. You know how everybody got their bootleg cosmetology license. So I'm going to break down the things that are not being talked about. And today I'm going to talk about something very interesting. We're going to have 4 parts to this series. So the first part, we're going to be talking about the weather and how the weather affects the hair, because now the season is changing, and as the seasons change, people are adamant that something happens to their hair when the sun comes out. You know, the leaves starts to fall off the trees and the cold weather starts to come in, something magical starts to happen. So that's number 1. And then number 2, we're going to talk about cleansing the hair. And then number 3, we're going to talk about the porosity, what's new in porosity. And then number 4, we're going to be talking about styling hair. So we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. So let's just get straight down to business, as they say in RFTW. If you know what RFTW stands for, I want you to hit the heart button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also share the love to anybody who might be interested in knowing about these fine topics. So let's start off with weather, okay? So this is my lovely guest, and she has all this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hair. And so it's color treated. She doesn't have any chemicals as far as like a relaxer or a curly perm. She's got some good old fashioned highlights and lowlights and all this cool stuff. And this is her version. Would this be called a messy bun? She said yes, something like that, okay? So this is her version of a messy bun. I ain't got time today. LaDosha gonna use me in the video, so I'm gonna go up there and let her just check it out, all right? And so as you can see, she has beautiful, beautiful hair. And so she came in today and she says, you know, Kilolo, isn't this hair gorgeous? She said, I think the weather is having an effect on my hair and my scalp, because I'm seeing some scaliness, and you know, I don't want my hair to be dry during the, you know, the colder season. And it hasn't even got cold, because last week in Cleveland it was actually 78 degrees, go figure. It's not actually all that cold today, but don't worry, if you live in Cleveland, you know it might be a blizzard by the end of the day. Not even tomorrow, but by the end of the day. So let's talk a little bit about weather and what happens to our hair as the seasons change. So here is what they don't tell you at the hair salon about the weather and hair. So number 1, our bodies, meaning the internal mechanisms of how our bodies function and flow, it actually goes in sync with the moon, believe it or not. As a matter of fact, today is actually November the 15th, and it is a new moon. So we know unique things happen when the moon gets bigger and when the moon gets smaller. So what we know for sure is that as the moon gets bigger, our liquid system starts to change. And so what's going to happen is, for women, we're going to get increased blood flow and hormonal activity, so to the point that we're calling that what? Menstruation. For men, we're just gonna call y'all something cheeky like the after 5 shadow, okay? So what that means is, as the moon gets full, you get more blood flow. Now, blood flow doesn't actually make the hair grow, but what it does is it actually the blood flow nourishes the hair, and it makes the hair stronger. Also, you get more hormonal activity, particularly the testosterone, and that's the hormone that's responsible for your hair growing. So it is true that the weather, our body is affected by, you know, the universe. So that's one way. Number 2, when it comes to weather, what would be happening in the weather or the climate that would make her hair or her scalp do something different during this season that it didn't happen during last season? Well, number one, you have about 3 things to consider. So number one, bing, you want to consider the actual weather itself. So what they don't tell you at the hair salon is that hair climatizes. And we'll talk about this a lot more in the second video when we the third video when we talk about, porosity. But just briefly, climatizes meaning when your hair is in one climate or temperature, is going to do one thing, and when it goes into another temperature, it's going to do another thing. Kind of like our fingers. So when it's cold outside, our fingers will constrict. We'll actually see our fingers like get tight, the skin. And then when we come in, the skin will relax. Well, hair does the same thing, but you know what? It has no nerve endings, so you can't feel it, which is why they sometimes say hair is dead. So hair is dead in the sense that when you cut it or we go in and out of the climate, you can't feel it, but it is very much alive because it opens and it closes, and we call that climatizing. So that's one of the things that she's experiencing, is that like in this room, the temperature is maybe about like 74, but outside it's like 40. So as she goes in and out of her car, her home, the grocery store, or work, the hair is swelling, closing, swelling, closing. So that's probably what she is going to see that effect on the hair. Unlike in the summertime, you're pretty much in an even, within range, you're somewhere in the same. So now that we have an understanding of how the weather is affecting the hair and scalp by way of climatizing, now we're going to actually talk about water intake. Now, when it comes to how the weather affects our hair, believe it or not, it is what we're doing or not doing as the weather changes that's also going to contribute to how our scalp and our hair responds to the climate. So typically what happens is during the hotter seasons, we have a tendency to drink more water. We're definitely more active. We're probably eating more fresh fruits, more salads because it's hot outside, as opposed to the cooler months, we have a tendency to go with we might drink as much water, but we're probably, not as active. And then we're also just maybe eating a little bit more heavier foods. So understand that when the weather changes, our diet changes. Our diet changes by way of what we're eating, also our water intake, and our physical activity. So if you notice that as the weather changes, you become more sedentary. You're eating more soups, a little bit more sandwiches, I'm talking about, just a little bit bologna sandwiches or something like that, those Subway sandwiches. You might be drinking a little bit more tea, more coffee, whereas in the summer, you were more water, all the cool types of stuff, maybe doing a lot of detoxing. So those things are definitely going to contribute to how the weather responds or is affecting or not affecting the hair. Then last but not least is what we're putting on the hair ourselves. Typically, when it's colder outside, we're going to do more hats, number one. Number two, we might do more scarves. Number three, we might even go heavier with our hair care products, which is not uncommon, because if you're putting things on top of your hair, you do want to go a little bit heavier on your products to reduce the friction. So those are the top 3 things that's going to contribute or affect or determine how your hair is reacting as the season changes. As you can see, it's not going to be one specific thing. It's going to be a combination of all 3, and that's what my mama would call just living. So as the weather changes, I don't think you have to do much, to your hair unless you're working out in the elements. So if you are one of those people who are outside, maybe you're a driver, maybe you're doing snow removal, or you're just out like a construction worker, things of that nature, then you're definitely going to have to cover the hair hair more, because the wind alone itself can weather the hair just like it does the outside of your house. So if you're one of those people who works in the elements, I do recommend that you cover your hair. Just like in the summertime, they want you to put a hat on to protect it from the sun, because hair care products, they break down as you sit outside or you're just moving in and out of the weather, the wind, the sun, you know, the rain, the snow. It will dilute and the products will loosen up and come off of the hair itself. So the best thing to do is to actually cover your hair or tie it down with the scarf. And so that concludes how the weather does not, maybe sometimes sort of kind of affect your hair. If you find this information pretty helpful, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Also subscribe to my channel. I'm on all the social media platforms, and if you're interested in buying any of the hair care products, you can visit my Amazon store at amazon.com/LaDosha Wright and just go shopping to your heart's content, and the books and everything is available at the Amazon store. All right, peace, love, and hair. And if you ain't got a whole lot of hair like this, don't want a whole lot of hair like this, can't stand a whole lot of hair like this, ain't even interested in a whole lot of hair like this, don't worry about it. All you have to do is just rub your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bald head. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.